I love Ableton and I also love hardware, and this is how I failed at Eurorack. I spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours on a Eurorack system that ultimately made me stop making music. It was too chaotic, too disconnected, and honestly, I failed at it. But today, I'm rebuilding the entire system from the ground up with Ableton Live as the brain to finally turn this noise into music. So in this video series, I'm going to show you how I'm starting over and building an ambient Eurorack setup that I'll incorporate with Ableton to create a 3-track EP. I'm going to show you everything along the way, from building the setup to creating some patches to some ambient music techniques to finishing stuff inside of Ableton. The reason that I've chosen Eurorack is I just like some hands-on control. I teach Ableton for a living. I work in Ableton for the last 20 years. So for me, it's just nice to step away from the computer, have some hands-on control, and then get that content created and into Ableton to work with further. Okay, so to start, the first thing that I chose when building this setup is the case. This is the Intellijel 7U case. This thing is really solid. It's sturdy metal. It has these legs on the side that you can tilt it up and down. It comes with this smaller row up top, which you can place some utility modules, which is nice. And it has 2 rows that you can place your modules in. So I like this size of case because it gives me enough room to do some interesting things, and it's not like a gigantic case where it's going to get out of control. And I also like that it has a lot of built-in input and output connectivity on the back and stuff for MIDI, which again we'll talk about soon. So that's a bit about the case. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to break it down, and we're going to start from scratch, and I'll talk about the first 2 modules that are going in, and then we'll make some music with it at the end of the video, and we'll see how this goes. So who knows? Okay, so let's talk about connecting your module to the case. So here's our power ribbon cable. This side is going to connect to the case. There's usually a smaller side once it gets into focus and I stop messing around with the camera here. The smaller side, this will connect to the module, although some modules have a different size, but for the most part, that's how it works. And so very important here that when you do this, there's a red stripe on the power cable, and there's also an area on the power header where you plug it in on the case here that has a stripe that says -12V. So you just want to line up the red stripe where it says -12V. This is correctly connected. And then on your module, you're also going to see either a red line or a -12V, and you want to line that up too so you don't fry the module by plugging it in backwards. That would be not ideal. Okay, so I'm going to take the other side of the power cable and plug it into the module here. Check that it's fully connected. The red stripe is matching the -12V, and this module is ready to go in the case, although this isn't the first one, this is just a demo. So, and there you go. Okay, so now let's plug in the first module and talk about what this module is and why I chose this. So this is the Intellijel Multigrain, which is a granular sampler. The reason I chose this module as my first module is because it is a powerful voice. Anytime we say voice, that means something that's going to generate sound like a sampler or an oscillator. And so I chose this voice because it's very flexible. It has a lot of sound shaping abilities. It can break up samples into tiny pieces, or what we call grains, and then it can scatter them about and do really cool, interesting, and experimental stuff. I'm also going to talk about too, there's a really nice free equivalent for this in Ableton, which is called the Granulator. Okay, so to find the Granulator, you can go to Packs and Granulator, and load that onto a blank MIDI track. I'm dropping an audio file of a drum loop in here, and we can mess around with it, twist some knobs without knowing what any of them do, and just experiment. And it sounds pretty cool. So you can create a similar kind of quasi-granular effect by using the simpler. So if you go to Instruments and Simpler and then load in a sample, you want to change it to slice mode, which is going to place slice markers in the sample, and then you can play those back. Okay, so let's connect our modules. So here's some patch cables that we're going to need. Here's a close-up of what they look like, 1/8" cables. And we're going to take the output of the multigrain here, which is audio, and we're going to plug that into this module here, which is the Intellijel line out. This connects to the 1/4" cables on the back of the case and provides a main volume control for the rack. And let's go ahead and hear what it sounds like. Okay, and here's some proof that I am not a graphic designer, and we have the signal flow here. So the audio is going from the multigrain, out of the multigrain to the input of the stereo line in module, which is connected to the case. The case is then connected with the 1/4" cables to my audio interface, which is a Universal Audio Apollo Twin X. Okay, so now I'm going to configure Ableton's audio settings so that I can record the Eurorack. To do this, I'll hit Command comma on the Mac or Control comma on the PC to go into the settings, go to the audio tab, and I want to choose the audio input source to be my audio interface, which is the Universal Audio, and that's going to allow me to record those external inputs. And for audio output device, I'm also going to choose Universal Audio, which is going to allow me to play the sound through my speakers. Next, I need to have an audio track, which if I don't have one, I can right click and hit Insert Audio Track or Command T. And then we need to select the input source to be external in and change it from a mono input to a stereo input, so input 1 and 2. If I wanted to, I could go back into the settings, go to the channel configuration, and under the input config here, I could say, I could label the stereo inputs there, and now that's easy to find in the menu because it's labeled. And then to record, I just need to record arm the track and then hit the arrangement record button. Okay, so I wanted to create a free granular rack inside of Ableton here that's as close as I could get to the multigrain. So I've made this available for free download below. Just click the link, and here's an example of what it sounds like. So I just wanted to let you know that I did purchase all of this equipment with my own money, and I do have affiliate shopping links in the description. So if you end up purchasing any of the gear, I do get a small commission from those links, but all of that helps to support the channel so that I can keep making Ableton hardware, tutorials, content, and anything music production related. So thank you very much, and see you next time.